What up, Net fans? NetsBoy here, bring your latest and your beyond disastrous Brooklyn Nets news. Let's just dive right in here. Let's not even screw around with anything. Let's just go and talk about how bad the Nets are right now. How bad they are. We're at the end of January. All right? It's January 27th. And the Nets are just maybe hit a brand new low point. Now, the last three games, they started off with a win over the Sacramento Kings, which, yes, it was a win, but it was a frustrating win because they were up by like close to 20 points and they almost blew it, but managed to hold on. That was a kind of a stressful game. In that game, Brook Lopez played well, which I'm going to bring up once again later on. Jared Jack played well as well, and Joe Johnson played okay. Remember the equation. You know, with substituting Jared Jack in for Darren Williams. Brook Lopez played well. Jared Jack played well. That's two of the three players playing well. Nets ended up beating a bad Sacramento team, but beat them nonetheless. But then, oh my God. The game against the Clippers, disaster. And even worse than that, the game against the Jazz, a disaster. They were just a disaster. Such a disaster that I can't even put into words to describe them. You lose one game 84 to 123 and then follow that up with a game 73 to 108. Like, NetsDog is moving over there. I don't know why. But still, disaster. I can't, literally I can't describe why the Nets were so bad those games. Now, the Nets are in a really bad situation here. We all know Darren Williams is out with the rib fractures, and he will probably be out at least another week or so. But worse than that has been the latest news about Mirza Teletovic. Now, if you haven't heard, Mirza Teletovic was diagnosed with blood clots in his lungs after he had left the game against, I believe, was it the Kings? I think it was the Kings or it could have been the Clippers, I don't remember. He had left the game with short of breath, heart, and breathing, and he was diagnosed with blood clots in his lungs. And that's actually a really serious health concern. And he's going to be out for the rest of the year because they have to give him the proper medication, and then once the blood clots go away, they have to ensure they won't return. And not only is this a season-ending illness, it could be career-threatening depending on the severity of the damage done to his lungs. If the blood clots were so severe and stop restriction, then his lung capacity might be limited. That being said, our thoughts go out to Mirza, but that's just a really tough blow because, look, this Nets team is not that good as it is, and the last thing you need is to lose more and more players. And, Darren Williams is already out, and now Teletovic, and now the news is that Joe Johnson has tendinitis. That might explain why he's been a piece of garbage. I mean, you just look at everything that's happening to the Nets, it kind of seems like, you can understand why they're, 18 and 26 right now. But I still think that they're better than their record. I still believe they will be an over 500 team come playoff time. I still believe they should make the playoffs. They are a game out right now behind Charlotte. And look, there's no doubt that this team is not good. There's no doubt that this team is not going to win 48 to 52 games. I still say it with a smile on my face because I still think they should have done it. But Darren Williams is not healthy. Joe Johnson is not healthy. Teletovic is out for the year. And Brook Lopez is not playing enough. And that's what I'm going to go back into. I said it last week, and I'm saying it again. It is not a coincidence that the last two games the Nets have won out of their last 10, they're 2-10, their last 12 games. But they had a win against the Wizards, and they had a win against the Kings. I do not think it is a coincidence that those were two of Brook Lopez's better games lately since he's come back from his injury. He had over 20 points in both those games, also had 5 blocks in the games against the Kings. It's not a coincidence. It's not. Okay? Brook Lopez is your best player. I said it all last week. I even said it the week before. When Darren Williams is out and Joe Johnson is hurt with tendonitis, you've got to give the ball to Brook. He has to start starting him more often. He's got to be the focal point of the offense. This whole Mason Plumlee bull crap has to stop. Mason Plumlee is a good player, but he is not as good as Lopez. He's more athletic, and he is a better defender, but offensively, he's not as good. And that's been the big problem with the Nets. I mean, yeah, 123 points of the Clippers is bad, but if I went and readed you the amount of points that they've given up opponents the last few games, 103 against the Grizzlies. That's not a good performance, but still not terrible. 80 points in the win against the Wizards, that's good. But the 99, okay, 100 to the Kings, they won, all right. 123, 108, you go back before that, they gave up around 100 points. If you can give up around 100 points, that's not good. But the real flaw of the Nets team right now has been their offense. They can't generate enough offense. I mean, do you disagree, NetsDog? Then don't bark. But listen to the Nets scoring in these last few games. 92, 102, okay, that's good. 90, 103, oh, okay. 84, 73. Obviously, the problem with the Nets is they can't get enough consistent offense because they're trying to use guys who aren't consistent offensive players. Like I said, Jarrett Jack, you have no choice. Darren Williams is out, and he's played very well. He has probably been arguably the best most consistent player for the Nets. Since he's been a starter, I think he's averaging like 19 points and 6 assists. That's good. But the next thing is Brook Lopez needs to get some touches, and he needs to get the ball and play. He's your best offensive option. You can't rely on Mason Plumlee to be a consistent offensive threat. You can't rely on Joe Johnson when apparently he has tendonitis. What? No! You wait! I'm doing NetsBoy! Unless you want to say something. Joe Johnson has tendonitis, so he can't be Teletovic is out. You've got to use Brook Lopez, but no, they're playing Plumlee. No, stop. Plumlee's a great player. He's a great center. He deserves to be in the starting lineup. But he's not better than Brook Lopez, and people need to stop thinking he is. I still think both of them should start. Maybe have Kevin Garnett come off the bench, because he doesn't do too much, but at the same time, it doesn't matter who starts. I changed my mind. It doesn't matter who starts, but Lopez should be playing at least 34 minutes a game. Plumlee should be playing about 25, and Garnett should be playing about 25. Those three could easily play those minutes, especially... Get over here! Hey! You stop this nonsense right now. Come on, NetsDog. I'm making a point. Oh, you want to make a point? What's your point? Oh, you know what? Here's his point. NetsDog here. I'm very upset about Music Teletovic. Remember, he was my favorite. But look, I have to agree with NetsBoy. Brook Lopez is the Nets' best player. He needs to also... No, sorry. No. He needs to get more touches, and they need to run the offense through him. Jarrett Jack is okay, and Joe Johnson, since he's hurt, he's not that good. He's not. If the Nets want to try to get back into things, they've got to play through Lopez. Okay, I'm good. Stop being annoying now. Okay. That's everything I was saying, NetsDog. What an egotist. He has to freaking be in the video. But listen, that's just the key, alright? And unless they trade Lopez, like I said I don't want them to do, or they trade somebody and bring another player in, with the team they've got now, they've got to run their team through Brook Lopez. Darren Williams is still out. Joe Johnson is clearly fighting through an injury. Teletovic is out. You've got to say, okay, who's our best player? Brook Lopez. You want to do some pick and rolls with Plumlee and Jarrett Jack? That's good. I like that. Mix it up a bit. But primarily, go through Brook Lopez. This team is 8 games under 500. 8 games under 500, a game out of the playoffs. They need to make a change. Now, there's rumors that maybe Lionel Hollins will get fired. Don't fire Lionel Hollins, because that's a reoccurring trend. You've gone through 4 coaches the last 3 years. Just keep a guy, Maybe Lionel Hollins needs to maybe change a few things, play some different players. Maybe Corey Jefferson needs to play a little bit more. Maybe let's try Markel Brown. I mean, come on, he's got some talent. Let's see what he can do. What do you have to lose at this point if you're the Nets? Now, like I said, there are rumors, once again, about Lopez being traded to the Nuggets for JaVale McGee. Look, I sure as hell don't want JaVale McGee on the Nets. I don't know about you guys. That's an absolute no-no. If you're going to get, do any trade with the Nuggets, you got to get Aaron Aflalo and maybe like a Wilson Chandler or a Gallinari or somebody who really has some value, because JaVale McGee does not give you any value. Simple as that. There were some rumors about that. There's some rumors now about the Hornets being interested in Joe Johnson. If you remember, when those rumors came out about 3 or 4 episodes ago, I said, hey, why not trade Joe Johnson to the Hornets for Deshaun Stevenson, Lance Stevenson, Marvin Williams, and I said one other player that I threw in there, either Gerald Henderson or Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Obviously, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist they probably wouldn't do, but listen, I trade Joe Johnson for Lance Stevenson, Gerald Henderson, and Marvin Williams. I'd do that. That's a pretty good trade. Because guess what? The Nets don't have a good bench right now. With Teletovic out and Jarrett Jack having to start, they don't really have a bench. Now, let's say they do that trade. I am for it. Now, say Darren Williams comes back and he's just okay, but you can do, Darren Williams, Lance Stevenson, and then I would start personally Marvin Williams, or Gerald Henderson at the 3, and then Garnett and Lopez with Plumlee coming back off the bench, Jack coming back off the bench. To have Bogdanovic. That would be a good move. I like that. Or it doesn't matter who's the the 5th starter there, who starts at the 3, but I think that'd be good because now, as much as I do like Joe Johnson and as good as he does play for the Nets, I feel like there's a point where they need to get away from him. He's 34 years old. He's being too inconsistent. Yes, they say he's hurt. But I think that maybe it's time for Brook Lopez to get some more up touches down the stretch and become the player that he should be. If you're going to dump a contract, why not get a good solid player like Lance Stevenson, who's a grinder? He can make things happen. You get Gerald Henderson, who's a very good talent, very athletic player. Marvin Williams, whatever. He's just kind of there. I wouldn't be against it. Personally, I don't know what I would do right now if I was Billy King. I mean, Billy King has made some poor moves in retrospect. And it's funny, though, because let's be honest, we all have talking I know a lot of Net fans have talking a lot of, crap on Billy King and the moves he made. But if you look at his track record, with the Darren Williams trade, I mean, okay, you know what? I'm going to starting with the Darren Williams trade. They were all had good intent, and I think a lot of fans are actually interested. They're interested in, oh my God, we have Darren Williams, and then, oh good, Jared Wallace, he's a good pick. That's a good pickup for just a draft pick. We didn't know that was going to come. People were excited about that, saying Nets are in win now mode. This is going to make them better. I know a lot of people said they didn't like it because the Nets were getting their future, but let's be honest. As Nets fans, we were kind of all for those moves because we're like, that makes the team better. They've kind of imploded. So if I'm Billy King, I don't know what I'm going to do. Personally, I think maybe you should look to make some moves, but I wouldn't force it. And more importantly, if I'm the team, I'm looking at let's play through Brook Lopez. And that's it. I'm not going to go on a longer rant than that. That's what the Nets need to do. The next few games for the Nets, because they got the postponement. They got Atlanta, Toronto, Clippers again. I don't even want to give a prediction of what I think. They just need to start playing better. So until then, this is NetsBoy signing off. And apparently letting NetsDog out because he's being annoying.